I've got blue smoke on my location. I'm checking it out.
What are you doing there? Get that bloody leak fixed.
They're armed. I need backup.
It's a cop.
Get out now. I will shoot.
If living off the land is your sort of thing, you can make a pretty good living hunting or fishing. Identity is all about the freedom to do what you want to do when you want to do it. While Identity is an MMORPG in most ways, we're going to be offering you the option to rent your own servers too. So if you want a different, more specialized style of gameplay than our official servers have, such as maybe hardcore role-playing or some kind of like endless action, server operators are going to have control over hundreds of features to customize what they want.
Alright, in Watertown, the suspect's in custody. Nobody's coming to perimeter. It's still a hot scene. 10-4.
If you're somebody that likes to take the quiet route, you can form a business and play the market, or you could take the other way. You could become a criminal, you could rob people, you could rob banks, you could steal cars. Everything is open for player interaction. The land identity is enormous with all sorts of landscapes from cities, farms, and wilderness.
Who are you? What are you going to be doing in the game? And then we came upon this game idea, which is awesomely simple, right? To hear about it is to want to play it. Who doesn't want to go to feudal Japan? Who doesn't want to be a samurai with a katana on their hip, right?
When you tell somebody that you get to play as a samurai, you don't really have to say anything else. You just say that fantasy, and everybody just builds a list of scenarios and narratives and gameplay scenes that you might get to play in that.
When we hit upon the Mongol invasion of Tsushima of 1274, it all clicked. Suddenly you knew who the heroes were, who the villains were, what the stakes were for the world, and you had a video game.
I'll ask you once again, samurai. Do you surrender?
Ghost of Tsushima is a action stealth adventure game where you play a samurai in feudal Japan, and we're taking inspiration from the historical point in time where the Mongol army invaded the island of Tsushima.
All those locations are in-engine, they're in the world. That's the place that you're going to defend, a huge island filled with a lot of different places, towns, people. There's so much to learn, there's so much to see.
I think player choice in this game will mean something very different than other games that we've met in the past. We really want you to have that choice of, hey, that cool bamboo forest over there, I really want to check it out. I want to head in that direction and I want to, see what it is. There's no waypoint. There's no thing that says, go here and look at this bamboo forest. And we just hopefully are presenting something that's beautiful and exotic, that's different than the current place that you might be in. And that will come at a world choice, right? Like that's your adventure choice. Like it's like, where do I want to go?
In Infamous, we let you explore powers. In this game, we let you explore what it is to be a samurai inside of this enormous landscape of medieval Japan.
Here at the studio, sometimes we talk about the world as a character. And I think that even in Second Son, we pushed really hard to make the flavors of the world come alive. There's all these other elements that make you remember what it really felt like to be a tourist in this place. And we're going to do the same thing for this game, starting with some of the shots you see in the trailer. We've been working on this game for 3.5 years, and it's exciting to be at a spot where we're finally able to share with the world what we've been working on.
And now it's just up to us to actually deliver this fantasy, this wonderful fantasy about being a samurai in feudal Japan.
With Fisk behind bars, what's next?
And the city's safer than ever. Maybe Peter Parker can have more of a life.
Are you in trouble? Do you need money?
No, I mean, I'm a little behind on my rent, but no, I'm fine.
Take care of this place. It represents the best part of me.
This is Miles. He's gonna be helping out around here.
For acts of extraordinary bravery. I'm the one who kept order in this city!
What is this? Devil's breath.
Your city and everything you care about will be destroyed. The people will beg you for help, but you won't be able to save them.
Get more backup. Wait!
We've got to play this just right. Please stop!
Maybe the city needs our friend more than you think.
Whew. Anyone else need a breather?
So here we have that monkey, which is my playable main character here, but of course in that game, you can select your character and create your own character. Just to give you a feeling of scale, that ship is about 20 meters long, and the other one, the mother ship, is about 400 meters long. I'm going to go close to it so that you can see the size. So when we have large spaceships like that, the good thing, the interesting thing is that they are a real level of gameplay. You can go inside. We have interiors for those big ingredients. So imagine I'm at the beginning of the game. I'm starting the game. I have nothing, but I am like like in Beyond Good and Evil 1, you start without anything, and you have to get some money to like level up and get your first vehicles. So imagine I'm just delivering pizzas. Here it's like a side quest or just a way among many to get some money. A very interesting thing too is that there's a lot of biomes on the planet, like this desert, or you have frozen lands on the planet, different cities. So we don't want empty planets. We want planets with landmarks, with places to explore. There are mountains where you have some monks living there. So they're not empty, repetitive planets. The planets we aim to work on, to make our planets with life.
Far Cry 5 is the biggest, most open Far Cry to date, giving you free reign to explore the highways and wilderness of Hope County, Montana, where you'll make life tough for the cultists of the Project at Eden's Gate by blowing up their stuff and uniting the locals as a resistance. How you do this is entirely up to you.
Shit, nice move!
More or less from the get-go, the entirety of Hope County is yours to explore however you like, whether by truck, helicopter, or fast travel wingsuit airdrop. And there's a lot to discover. Poking around its wooded trails might reveal prepper caches protected by puzzles or challenges or wolverines. Or you might find signposts that reveal picturesque cliffs from which you can go wingsuiting. You might even discover a plaque commemorating the impossible deeds of 70s daredevil Clutch Nixon, at which point you'll be able to, say, recreate his literally on fire rally run through sprinkler checkpoints that delay your inevitable explosion. As with any Far Cry game, however, some of the best moments come from the unpredictability of the world itself. When you've got cultists, vehicles, fire, and extremely violent animals all running amok at once, it only takes a second for a mission to go from high-tension stealth to berserk carnage because that incendiary arrow missed a cult VIP and hit a bull instead. Far Cry 5 also expands one of the best parts of earlier games, scouting out enemy outposts, methodically hunting down all of their defenders, and claiming the compounds for your side. Not only are outposts everywhere in Hope County, clearly marked by columns of black smoke, but all across the map you'll find prominent citizens under siege by the cult.
Name's Grace.
Helping them push back and reclaim what's theirs will convince them to join you in battle, or at least give you more intel about the cult's activities. As you reclaim territory from the cult, destroy their property, and generally interfere with their plans, you'll fill a resistance meter for the region you're in. Each region of Hope County has 4 levels of resistance, and when you hit a new tier, the cult will step up its armaments and tactics.
Vietnam, zombies, space. It's the Far Cry 5 Season Pass and post-launch content. In the first DLC, Hours of Darkness, you'll be dropped right in the middle of war-torn Vietnam. As Wendell Redler, you'll face Viet Cong, rescue friends, and if you've got the grit, get the hell out of there. For an encounter of the radical kind, look no further than the second DLC, Lost on Mars. Your mission is simple. Save Earth by stopping a full-on alien invasion and haul ass back home. In the third DLC, Dead Living Zombies, the deceased cease to be decreased as you and a friend melt wave after wave of zombie hordes in 7 scenarios imagined by B-movie director Guy Marvel. And for you Vaz fans out there, we're throwing in the full game of Far Cry 3 Classic Edition. How's that for the definition of insanity? And for all Far Cry 5 players, we've got a bunch of post-launch content as well. First up is Far Cry Arcade, where there's an endless amount of maps to play in solo, co-op, or PvP, created by Far Cry Studio, as well as players like you. What's more, this mode is constantly updated with new content and challenges. And introducing reoccurring live events. We're going to give you goals to unlock exclusive outfits, weapons, and kick-ass vault vehicles. Participate in the events, get the loot. So run those sweet little legs and get your season pass for the best deal we've ever offered in Far Cry. And stay tuned for all new content post-launch of Far Cry 5.
Yo, bro, why don't you pick up some groceries on your way back, alright? We're running kind of low, and don't tell Mom, alright, but I'm broke.
Son, while you're living in D.C., we have to set some ground rules when your brother comes to stay with you.
I've been patient with you, Aiden. We need those schematics by 10 a.m. tomorrow, or else we need...
Mark, it's your responsibility.
Come on, Aiden.
Aiden, this is your mother. Pick up the phone.
Aiden, pick up the phone, man.
Aiden.
What would you do if the world you knew was gone? All the comforts, the simple pleasures you took for granted. How would you protect yourself and the ones you love when the protectors can't even save themselves?
The army's pulling out. Come on. Last truck, get in.
Want some of this? How about you?
How will you decide who belongs?
Thanks. I owe you.
How will you choose a place to call home? How will you build it? Work together to defend it from the terror just outside the walls. When you get hungry, cold, what risks will you take? What mistakes will you make? When the only family you've got is about to tear itself apart, will you end a life?
Wait.
Or save it?
Please.
This is our only one, but we need everybody we've got.
Too deep and realize no one gets a second chance.
Ashes of Creation is really about 4 primary pillars of our development. It's about our node system, which is an integral part of exactly how the world works and interacts with you as the player. It's also about our meaningful conflict, PvP, and how you can catalyze change in the environment around you. The economy is our 3rd pillar, which focuses on incentivizing you as the player to get out in the world and interact with it. And last, but most important, potentially, is our narrative. The narrative really holds all of those systems together and keeping you as the player interested in exactly what different outcomes come about.
When players first arrive on this world, they're going to find it devoid of civilization. There's wilderness everywhere, and it's up to the players to kind of bring civilization to this world. These nodes are how players do that. There are tons of nodes throughout the world, and each of them has a zone of influence. This zone of influence captures all the activity of the different players doing different things. It could be crafting, it could be fighting, it could be gathering. Anything that might give you experience is something that the node's going to be paying attention to. And as you level up your character, the node levels up with you. And as it levels, more and more civilization gets attracted to that area.
We want the world to react to the player. That's the most important part, is the world is reacting to your actions.
Different nodes attract different events. the world doesn't stay quiet for long, and civilization disturbs deep and dark things throughout it. A city that grows up on the side of a mountain might dig a little bit too deep and might disturb the things that are below. And that might include like a giant dragon that erupts with a volcano and lays down waste to that node that developed there. And that's something that wouldn't happen any other place. That's an event that's unique to that particular node at that particular time. And because of that, like, players are going to experience this game very differently depending on how they build it. Each server is going to have its own story, and we're pretty excited to see what players do with that. How do they react to that dragon coming out that mountain? Do they pack up their bags and move? Or do they decide to fight it, to gather all of their friends and take down this monster because this is their home?
The fourth pillar in Ashes of Creation is our narrative, the story, and how it relates to you, both as an individual and as a member of the greater community.
In Ashes of Creation, we've got 3 main ways that we're going to be telling the story. One is tasks, one are events, and the final one is our overarching narrative. The narrative is going to be where you find most of the story.
Each server will tell a different story, and this story is going to be told by the players. You're going to experience things differently when it comes to what bosses you've encountered because of how the world develops and how you have developed it.
The node system is going to be what drives what storyline branches players experience. Different NPCs are going to be attracted to different nodes. There's going to be different protagonists and antagonists based on how players build their world. It's all going to relate to the same basic story, but you're going to get different viewpoints on different servers, and you're going to find different bad guys on different servers. It's all going to depend on what players uncover, how they uncover it, and when they uncover it.